Welcome back to TheChowTimePod. It's your host, Red. We got a video today from Charles in Charge. Man discovers after 8 years he's not the father. Please like and subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. Let's get that chow. It's chow time.
All right, welcome in and welcome back, guys. Charles in Charge here. We are back with another video. So we're going to talk about paternity fraud. Currently, in the United States, under the eyes of the law, paternity fraud is not a crime. And what that means is that if a woman chooses to lie and deceive a man and have him believe that he is the father of children that in fact he is not the father of, due to her action that she is completely aware of, if that man goes and then signs the birth certificate on the dotted line, in the eyes of the law, that man is the father. And it doesn't matter if he learns in the future through DNA testing that he is not the child's father. The only recourse or justice that any man can take when he does learn this information is that he can take the mother to civil court. But even that has its limits, as many states have statute of limitations in which you are allowed to bring those sort of cases in front of a judge, with some states having as little as 4 years in which you are allowed to. In the past, research has shown that 1 in 3 men who get paternity tests have came back negative.
True.
That's nearly 32% of men who have not been the father. And let's not forget, this is only men who actually go get tested because they have a reason to believe that they may not be the father.
Isn't that even just that, Charles? It's sometimes the 23andMe, sometimes it's I need to get a DNA test, so maybe you need to donate blood or donate organs or whatever it is, some kind of medical thing.
Don't represent the full picture or the full scope of the issue for men who were never made aware through paternity tests that they were the father and were forced to find out by other means. So the reality that that number would actually be quite larger is more than possible, is probable. And that brings us to today's video, y'all. Paying child support for a child that you find out is not yours should be a crime. Check
Hell
it out.
yeah.
Listen, just a recap on that situation about my friend who paid child support for 8 years after finding out, his child wasn't his after 8 years. You know what's so crazy about that? He don't mind me telling because I'm not going to leak his information, his name. It is embarrassing, so I told him I won't put his name out there. But, yeah. So, an update to that story. So, comes to find out, the mom already knew who the father was.
Wow.
This man has been paying child support for 8 years. And the mom knew the whole time. She said that the father just the original father didn't want to be in the kid's life, and he did, the one that she was currently with. Okay, listen, I get that part. That part is completely understandable. Okay, another man won't do, another man stepped up and took the challenge. But here's my thing. Well, 2 things, maybe 3. 1, first of all, he didn't know that kid was not his. That's 1. So you're trying to be humble, that's crazy. You're trying to have like this little, compassion about, oh, I want my son. He didn't know that was his kid. You could at least told him that. For 2, and I'm going to get a 3 out of this. For 2, you put him on child support? So you knew the child wasn't his and you put him on child support. Throw her in jail. That's 2. That's 2. 3, I've been with my friend at times where he was having issues with her and that she would not even allow him to see her child, his child at the time. He will go weeks sometimes without seeing his child because of how mad she is. And now it makes sense. Like, I'm like, what kind of woman just takes a child that's his away from him and not want him to see it? And just to find out
it's not his.
She had already known that he was not the father of the child, and he did not know. This man carried on this shit for 8 years. 8 years, y'all. What? Like, me personally, like, what would you do in this situation? I told him he should go to court and try to sue her for every dollar that she took from him. That makes sense, right? Like $500, $535 that was paid every month should be paid back, period. Like, is it just me?
It's not just you, bro.
Like, what do y'all think? Like, that is crazy as hell to me. Women, this should be a crime. And if you can't pay it back, you should go to jail just like a man who cannot pay child support does. Yeah, you should go to jail. Nobody feels bad for us.
Nope.
But yeah, what do you guys think about this, man? Like, this is ridiculous. Me and him was just brainstorming over what to do in the, what he should do in this situation. And the best thing I came up with was just take her to court. Take her to court. Like, ain't nothing you can do. You can't be mad.
Even then, brother, taking her to court, you're wasting a lot of money on court fees and stuff, and you still might not even get anything.
Really can't see his daughter, and it's sad because he's grown this relationship with his child, and now he can't see her. Women, we got to do better.
All right, guys, and there you have it. And stories like that are especially just sad to hear because the situation is so avoidable if you just get some honesty. Because most men, if you're in a relationship and if you find out the woman you're with is pregnant, your mind doesn't drift to think that I should get a DNA test.
Not you.
Not if at that time you're not suspicious, at least, of her doing something behind your back. And the crazy thing is that there are women out there who will knowingly deceive a man, have him believing that he's that child's father, knowing damn well that they themselves aren't 100% sure that he's the child's father because all the things that they've done behind that man's back in the dark tells them that they can't be 100% sure he's the father. You got to be a special type of violent, disgusting person to not only think it's okay to destroy that man's life by not being honest, but also destroy that child's life. Because the truth always comes out. It may take a year, it may take 5 years.
No, Charles, I don't think it does. A lot of these women take it to their grave. A lot of these men will still die not knowing if that child is actually their father or not, or that child is actually theirs or not.
It may take 20 years. We've seen cases where sometimes it takes 50, 60 years, but the truth always eventually comes out some way, somehow. And when that information drops, those people who are part of it, their lives are never the same. And it's a tough one because you can just come out and destroy somebody's life with a lie and not face any consequences for your actions, for basically stealing not only their time, but their resources from them. Because the ultimatum was, it's either him or me. And she had to choose between whether her trying to figure it out as a single mom, or at least knowing that she would have a man who she could either depend on to be there because he was actually a good man who would step up, be ready to be a father and take care of his responsibilities, or she at least knows she's going to get some child support. When those are your options and you can get away with it because, even if you lie and you get caught, you're not going to get any type of punishment. The choice isn't hard to make for a woman who lacks any type of moral compass. And listen, I know the easy answer to say would be just to cut all ties. Those aren't your kids. Leave her to figure it out. But men aren't machines. Men have feelings and have emotions. And if you spent the day, let alone a year, let alone 5, 10, 15, even in some cases 20 years, where kids have become full-grown adults before you learn that that child was not yours, it's not a button you could just switch off as far as your emotions that have you stop feeling the way you felt about these people who you thought were your flesh and blood.
Yeah, people are different. There's men that as soon as they find out and it's not their blood, it's easy for them to cut things off. And there's some men that, no, they have such strong bonds. They love that kid. They've been in every moment of that kid's life that was important. Sometimes it's hard to give that up. And I think when men view this scenario and they see men still wanting to be the father and still want to take care of the kid, I see a lot of comments saying, oh, he's a simp, no, he's right. Men have emotions, men have feelings. And once you've built a connection with another being, especially a child, it's hard to break that.
Before that point, and now because you get this piece of paper that says otherwise, as a man, you could just erase that person, in some cases, multiple kids, from your life. So I really can't knock a man who decides to stick around and be there for those kids, because in reality, they were kind of casualties in this entire thing due to the mother's lies. Guys, if you didn't know by now, you can follow me on Instagram. You'll find that link down in the description. Over there, you'll be able to stay better connected.
Shout outs to Charles. That was some harsh chow right there. 8 years of a man's life taking care of a daughter that ended up not being his, paying all that child support. Be careful out there, man. Please subscribe down below. I really appreciate that. And I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.